just came up with a new report. It's called McKinney, inviting national developers to Pampanga. You go around Pampanga right now, we see all of the major developers are in Pampanga right now. So the title is very befitting. It's to come here. So that is very interesting. You see Ayala Land here now. You see Philinvest, SM of course is here. They are all coming to Pampanga because of the potential. So what's driving all of this growth in the Philippines right now? So if you look at the Philippine GDP right now, last week it was just released 6.8% for the first quarter GDP. So that is between the consensus of about 6.5 to close to 7. So that is very good. So we're seeing that that's faster than the growth in 1Q 2017 of 6.5. So this year they are looking at that range of about 6.5 to 7. So that's on track. What is driving all of this? One is remittances. That is 30 billion US dollars coming into the country every year. That is huge. So for the first 2 months of this year, that's already up by 8%. So you could just imagine that will go more than 33 billion for this year. That is huge. That has a trickle effect on retail, on residential. All of our businesses have benefited from OFW remittances. Lending rates, we're now at the lowest mortgage rates that we've seen. So home mortgage rates right now at 5-6%. When I started my career in real estate 1995, 96, that was very good. Then it crashed, 97. It crashed in 97. There were interest rates of 12% was the normal. Overnight it went up to 30% during the crisis. We're now down to 5 to 6. That has been really pushing resi sales in the Philippines right now. So, if you look at land values, you've seen sales going really strong. Makati, if you're lucky to find land, and Fort Bonifacio are asking prices of 500,000 to 800,000 per square. There are even some supposedly offers of close to 1 million pesos per square. That is how fast the industry has gone up. Land values will not go up if the prices or selling prices are not going up or if the take-up is not there. So, what's driving this? Consumer spending, that's 70% of our GDP. That is strong. So, people are spending, there's consumer confidence. Remittance, as I've said, that's 30 billion pesos coming into the Philippines every year. BPO, that's another one. There's about 1.2 million employees right now, and that's bringing in 20 billion US dollars as well. So that is pretty close to what the remittance industry has been bringing in. And again, tourism, we're at around 6.6 million last year, close to 7 million. They're looking at that to grow to 10 to 15% in 2018. So, what will boost the economy in the next few years? Evan has spoken a lot on the infrastructure. I'll go pretty quick on this one. It's really the build, as he had said. So, if you look at the numbers, the Philippine government has been spending only 1 to 2% of its GDP on infrastructure for the past, 30, 50 years. We are now looking for this year to spend at around 5% of the GDP. That is huge. Could you imagine, in 2017, that is about 840 billion. We're ramping up this year to 1.2 trillion. And by 2022, that's about 1.9 trillion. So you've seen all of the infrastructure play that Evan has shown on Clark. And you look at the map, it's really decentralizing the economy, decentralizing the Philippines. These are just some of the infra development in northern Luzon. The most important one would probably be the Clark Airport expansion. You are ramping up from a 4 million capacity to a 12. That is similar to what is happening in Cebu right now. Cebu right now is at 4 million. By June or July, that's going to ramp up to a 12 million capacity. And you could already see the opportunities in real estate for that one. Okay, so if you look at Pampanga in a nutshell, so there's a major BPO hub in Central Luzon. What's interesting about Pampanga, and I was talking to Evan about this a while ago, is that it seems that from Metro Manila, it has skipped Bulacan. Developments in BPOs has gone straight to Pampanga, and you'll see that later. There's also a shift now to KPO, not just from the voice BPO. We're now seeing KPOs, the higher level BPOs established in Pampanga. We're now also seeing newer office space with national players in the townships. So, what's driving that again is the BPO. So that's about 20 billion in revenue, and we have about 1.2 million employees, and that has now spilled over to Pampanga. So if you look at Pampanga, 290,000 square meters of office space. Some would think, is that big? Is that small? Let's put that into context. Metro Manila right now has 10 million square meters of office space. Makati, CBD, is about 3 million square meters. So, that 290,000, you've seen the plans, that has the potential to grow into a full-fledged CBD. So if you're now comparing with the sizes that you mentioned on Makati, Fort Bonifacio, just for comparison, Makati is about 3 million square meters. You're now just at 290,000. The vacancy right now is 26%. This is a shot in time. This is the first quarter. It seems high because of the new supply that came in, but we're seeing that getting taken up fairly quickly. Rents are very competitive, 450 to 700 pesos. If you look at Makati right now, some of the buildings have gone 1,000, 1,300, 1,500. We're seeing rents have gone up and ramped up to those levels in Makati already. If you look at the tenants, we've seen all of the major BPOs here. What's interesting now is we're now seeing KPOs. Mercedes-Benz, for instance, is in Angeles City. So that is interesting. We're now seeing KPOs coming here, and that's good. That gives a higher profile to the city. That gets higher qualified people getting on board on those companies. So that is very good. This is just a breakdown of where most of the offices are. So a lot would be in the CFZ, so that we have 136,000 square meters. Angeles is about 160, and then you have a little bit in San Fernando of less than 40,000 square meters. So what is the trend that we're seeing right now? So the demand in office in Pampanga is roughly about 40,000 square meters per year. That is mostly due to the supply. There's a supply of about 56,000 in Pampanga every year. So whatever has been put out in the market, we've seen some take-up spike as well. So going to residential, nutshell, Pampanga, we're seeing will become a hotbed for condominium development. You're already seeing that. We're seeing the big developers all coming into Pampanga already. There's now a preference for horizontal over vertical projects. OFWs and investors are fueling the demand for condominiums. So this is interesting. If you look at North Luzon, where Pampanga is located, there's about a take-up of 6,970 house and lot units. And that is well over what was supplied in the market. So there's about nearly 7,000 units which were bought last year. And half of that is coming from Pampanga. That is how big the demand is in Pampanga. Pampanga took up about 3,300 units of house and lots last year. So that's half of northern Luzon. That's why it's no surprise all the big names, the Ayala Lands, the SMs, have been coming to Pampanga already. So the take-up last year of about 3,300 is higher than the 3,100 in 2016. Again, these are just some of the big players. You have Ali, you have SM, you have Vista Land, you have local developers as well, such as Houseland. That is the interesting thing in Pampanga, is the opportunity is not just for the big players. Even the smaller players are getting a piece of the action. This is also, now this, if you just look at Pampanga, the top selling is SMDC. You've seen banners going all around. This is their development on house and lots called Cheerful Residences. You have Houseland, which is a local developer, and then you also have Ali, Ayala Land. So this is just one example of the horizontal development that we saw in the market, doing very well. 79% sales rate. Launched close to the mid of last year, and that's already nearly 80% sold, 583 units. And in real estate, that's pretty fast. What's interesting now is high-rise development has arrived in Pampanga. There's about 10 condominium projects here. 2 are by big developers, Century and Ayala Land. So this is just one. This is Ayala Land's marquee. This is basically sold out, and it did sell well at these prices, starting at 4 million to as much as 9.4. So could you just imagine pricing of 4 to 9 M already in Pampanga? This is Century, 8-hectare development in San Fernando, close to sold out, about 95% sold for 3 towers. Again, at pricing of about 2.7 million to as much as nearly 7 million per unit. That is pretty high. Some upcoming developments, there is POSCO, the Korean-based POSCO, doing in Clark, and other smaller developers also doing projects in Pampanga. What's interesting is developers now are trying to differentiate their projects. And the way to differentiate their projects is through townships. So we've just gathered some of the big township developments that we've seen in Pampanga and how this will change the landscape in the next few years. So you have New Clark City, not to be confused with Evan's project. This is it's huge. It encompasses from Clark, Mabalaca, in Pampanga, up to Capas in Tarlac. That's how big this development is. Of course, you have Alviera of Ayala Land. Interesting project from areas with Lahar in Porac. Now you have a development of about 1,800. Started with active leisure developments. They have sold the country club. They basically sold out the industrial. They have Avida and Alveo brands, and soon they will be having the Premier, which is the topmost development in the Ayala Land brand portfolio. You have Capital Town of Mega World also. This is in San Fernando. Again, they're going to look at office, retail, institutional, residential, and hotel. So that will have a big impact on the developments here. And of course, Clark Global City, as Evan has gone into a while earlier. SM Clark Complex, where we are right now, so they are looking to add a convention center. They do have the Park Inn, the retail, that's about 70,000 square meters of retail, all added into the mix. So that will also be, it's a smaller development, but again, that will have a major impact here as well. And of course, Philinvest doing the Mimosa Leisure City. So that is a mix of hotels, convention, casino, retail, and hotel. So, Just to wrap up everything, this is our recommendations. First, differentiate your projects. There is a lot of competition in the market. All of the big players are here, particularly if you're a smaller player, differentiate your project. Whether it's a 10-hectare development, a 3,000-hectare development, you need to differentiate your project. There is an opportunity for industrial space and warehouses. There's also an opportunity for 2 to 4-star hotels in MICE facilities. Why do I say 2 to 4-star hotels? If you look at the Philippine market, the room rates is still a challenge. We probably have some of the lowest, brand per brand, lowest room rate. If you look at the peninsula in Manila, that would probably be the lowest peninsula room rate as compared to Bangkok, Hong Kong, Paris. We would have that. Mandarin Oriental was pretty low before it went. The room rate is still a challenge. There is a opportunity for a good 3-star or a 4-star in the Philippines, such as this one. Opportunity for small office space that is flexible for traditional and also for non-BPO companies. Also explore opportunities in Metro Clark Fringe that will have a big impact. And partnership with global property management firms. At the end of the day, you build a good building, what's the next? You need to manage that properly. And at the last one is redevelopment of old buildings in the downtown Angeles and San Fernando. Those are big opportunities as well. So these are the recommendations and the opportunities that we see in Pampanga. And if you need anything, if you have questions, let me know. I'll just be around. Thank you.